U.S. Space Command, or USSC, officials said Russia has launched a new anti-satellite missile test in its latest push to weaponize space on December 16th. As per reports, in its third anti-satellite test this year, Russia launched a direct-ascent anti-satellite DA-ASAT missile, which can destroy small satellites in low Earth orbit. U.S. Army General James Dickinson, commander of the USSC, said in the statement, "Russia publicly claims it's working to prevent the transformation of outer space into a battlefield. Yet at the same time, Moscow continues to weaponize space by developing and fielding on-orbit and ground-based capabilities that seek to exploit U.S. reliance on space-based systems. Russia's persistent testing of these systems demonstrates threats to the U.S. and allied space systems are rapidly advancing." In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why the Russian ASAT is a threat for the U.S. and NATO. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. Satellites are one of the most important assets for a nation. They play a vital role in civilian and military communications. Military satellites are used for gathering intelligence, as well as they can monitor and provide early warning against missile launches by a rival nation. Military satellites also provide precise guidance to missiles, aircraft, and warships, to name a few. So, if satellites of a particular nation are destroyed, it will become handicapped in a conflict. This is why the anti-satellite weapon is seen as a key military capability by the world. The U.S. was the first to possess this kind of capability. It carried out its first ASAT test in 1959. The Soviet Union, after conducting a series of 7 tests from 1963 to 1971, declared its system operational in 1973. In January 2007, China successfully destroyed a defunct Chinese weather satellite, FY-1C. As per reports, the mission was executed by an SC-19 ASAT missile with a kinetic kill warhead. In a national address last year, Indian Prime Minister Modi said India had achieved a historic feat by shooting down its own low-orbit satellite with a ground-launched missile in 3 minutes. So, as of now, there are only 4 countries, the US, Russia, China, and India, that have demonstrated this kind of capability. France, Israel, and the UK are also thought to possess this capability. Russia has now demonstrated that it has 2 different types of space weapons. As reported, the first type of kinetic weapon is a DA-ASAT system, capable of destroying satellites in low Earth orbit, which they have tested multiple times. If this weapon is tested on an actual satellite or used operationally, it will cause large space debris that could endanger commercial satellites and pollute the space domain. The second type is a co-orbital ASAT, a space-based weapon system which demonstrated an on-orbit kinetic weapon in 2017 and again in 2020. U.S. Space Command added that in March 2018, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the development of a ground-based laser system for use by the Russian Space Forces, which the Russian military acknowledged as a combat labor system. As per the U.S. military, this pattern of behavior would be considered potentially threatening in any other domain. Mr. Dickinson added, Russia has made space a warfighting domain by testing space-based and ground-based weapons intended to target and destroy satellites. This fact is inconsistent with Moscow's public claims that Russia seeks to prevent conflict in space. Space is critical to all nations. It is a shared interest to create the conditions for a safe, stable, and operationally sustainable space environment. The demands on these space systems continue in this time of crisis, where global logistics, transportation, and communications are key to defeating the COVID-19 pandemic. It's clear that the Russian endeavor is a challenge for the US and NATO. But there are also larger consequences. If these activities continue unhindered, it will only further intensify competition among the major space players, potentially leading to weaponization of space. The failure of the major space powers to address this in a proactive manner and agree upon a future path will be detrimental when it comes to having space as a safe and sustainable domain going forward. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.